Hello and welcome back to the show. I wanted to do a brief episode today about some news that broke over the weekend. Supposedly, it's Star Wars news, and it's pretty epic. Everybody thought that George Lucas was done with Star Wars, but evidently not. Pretty much, here's the news. George Lucas is supposedly to shoot another Obi-Wan Kenobi movie in Northern Ireland next year. Some foreign secretary Boris Johnson, during some speech at the DUP conference this weekend, more or less let the bean, he more or less spilt the beans, about a possible Disney George Lucas new Star Wars movie. Supposedly, George Lucas is going to be making an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie. He will shoot it in Northern Ireland sometime around 2019. And here's what he said during the speech. Oh, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to play the clip if I can find it. I'm going to edit it in.
Let me ask you if you can remember, last year seems a distant memory, but can you remember which was the biggest grossing movie of 2017? Anybody remember around the world, the biggest grossing movie around the world of 2017 was... Does George Lucas propose to make the follow-up biopic of the life of Obi-Wan Kenobi, following this speech, here in Northern Ireland? But can anybody remember what is the name of the weapon so famously wielded by Obi-Wan? The throbbing, enigmatic, humming...
So basically, that's it, which was the biggest grossing movie last year. Star Wars, where does George Lucas propose to make a follow-up about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Northern Ireland. So, for what I'm seeing, either this guy has no clue that Disney bought Star Wars, and, maybe this is way back when, they were supposed to be doing this movie with George Lucas, and, when he sold the company, this guy, because why a lot of people are speculating that, because George Lucas had a lot of things in works before he sold. There were several animated series. I think there was even possible movies like one of these in the works. And when he sold it to Disney, all that got dropped. So maybe people are speculating this is something that was done way back when, and this dude didn't get the memo. And there's all this to do about nothing. And then there's also the speculation that this guy is totally clueless, and Disney was assuming he would keep his mouth shut about it, and he didn't. And, Disney was going to have a huge announcement like, we're bringing George Lucas back. So you can look at it either way. It's there's a lot of information out there, but basically it comes down to that. It's either one of the two theories. Either this guy has no clue, and he's talking about a George Lucas movie that was already canceled, and he has no idea, that it's canceled, or he spilled the beans. He made an early announcement for Disney by inadvertently mentioning some news that they were going to mention in 2019, which is awesome either way. I got to be honest, I kind of like George Lucas's, his prequel movies. There were some problems with them, but overall, I really like them. Really, I got to be honest, the one thing I like about the prequel movies is I didn't like them that well when they first came out. I like the last one. But, they got better as they went along. Maybe that's just because the story got better as it went along and you kind of knew where things were going. There's a lot more action. But I got to be honest, really, the prequel movies, actually, the older the movies get, the more I actually like going back and watching them. It's like an aged wine. They've gotten better. And I've noticed other people have said this, like The Phantom Menace. I hated that movie when it came out. Maybe because I was so, like somebody said, they used an analogy once. Like, Star Wars was like, they were saying, the movie's coming. And like, this is the greatest joke you've ever heard. And then when you hear the joke, it's not funny because your expectation is so high that you could not enjoy it. Well, that's kind of how The Phantom Menace was. Your expectations were so high when it came out, and all Star Wars fans, that by the time the movie came out, it literally would not meet that expectation. But, I've noticed as the years went on, I actually like those movies. Like when I see them on TV, I watch them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I love these movies. But years ago, I really didn't like them that well. So it's like the George Lucas, prequel movies, they're like aged wine. They there's gems in there that you didn't see or you overlooked, and when you watch the whole movie, you're like, oh yeah, I see the beauty in it now. Whereas the original, trilogy, it was just, it was badass from day one. It still is. It's just, it's a work of perfection. There's nothing I would change about those movies. Even Ewoks. I love the Ewoks. I'm one of the few people that has no problem with the Ewoks. I'm really excited about George Lucas. I can say nothing bad about this. I truly hope it is him taking a step back and then going back, and telling some things about Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'd rather him do Obi-Wan Kenobi than Disney, because right now Disney has no clue. They're literally throwing crap at the wall and seeing what sticks. And so far, they're just ending up with crap. What's the old saying? You take 50% ice cream, you take 50% crap, you merge them together, you got 100% crap. And that is what Disney is doing with Star Wars right now. They got 100% crap. So really, I'm looking forward to this. Even if it bombs, he can't do much worse than, what Disney's doing. So. But like I said, we'll have to wait a little while and see. Disney hasn't really mentioned anything. So basically, it all comes down to this. Either way, maybe chances are this guy probably just has no clue what he's talking about. But I'm more suspicious to the fact that it's Disney's not saying anything. Now, if there was something not to this, they would be like, oh, no, this guy's just confused. They're not saying a word, which leads me to believe, and George Lucas is not saying anything, Disney's not saying anything, or I can't find where they're saying anything at the time I'm recording this, that, next week they may come out, they're going to have some kind of press conference, because it's obvious this guy threw him for a loop, and they're kind of having to they're going to have to react to this at some point because there's way too much interest in this. George Lucas coming back to do Star Wars again. That's big news. Even though he doesn't even own the rights to Star Wars anymore. That's huge. And that's more telling to what is happening to Disney these days with Star Wars. They really have no clue what to do, so they're going back to the guy they bought the movie from. That's like somebody buying a restaurant, a successful restaurant, paying good money for it, telling the guy, hey, we bought it, take a hike. We know what we're doing. And then they run the business into the ground, and they go back to the original owner and say, hey, we want to hire you to run this for us because we kind of we're running it out of business, and it's the same idea. That's what they're doing here, if this is true. Disney's coming back, they got their butts kicked. They have to admit, we have no clue what we're doing with this, this great, property we brought. We have no clue what we're doing with this great, franchise we bought. We need you to help us. It's just, it's kind of embarrassing. Anyway, I have some more news on this when right before Thanksgiving, this kind of news broke, and I'll have some more information when it comes out. But, George Lucas supposedly right now is supposed to be shooting Obi-Wan Kenobi movie in Northern Ireland. Some more updates when it comes out. Anyway, that's all for now. Catch you next time. Please remember to subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.